What's happening, guys? It's your boy TC back with another video. So we're on our way to Baku. What a fantastic performance. First European Cup final since 2006 when we lost to Barcelona. But this was a fantastic result from the team overall. I was so impressed with our front two strikers, but we'll talk about them in a bit more detail shortly once we've run through the starting 11 on the evening. So in goal, as anticipated, we did have Pierre-Emerick in goal. The three defenders consisted of Koscielny, Socrates, as well as Monreal. The right wing back was Maitland-Niles. At left wing back, we did have Kolasinac playing. In the middle of the park, it was a partnership of Xhaka and Torreira. Up top, we did have Mesut Ozil, Aubameyang, as well as Lacazette. So as you may all know, it ended up being 3-7 in aggregate in favour of Arsenal. Of course, we found ourselves in the final, courtesy of mainly Lacazette and Aubameyang. And of course, those two are absolutely fantastic throughout the whole match. And we will speak about them, as mentioned, in a bit more detail shortly. But let's just talk about the game itself in general. Overall, we managed the game well. As I said in my preview, we needed good game management, and Unai Emery obviously got the tactics right on the evening, which has ended up seeing us into the final, as we expected as Arsenal fans. We do need to bring the cup home. Of course, we do know that this is the only route that we do have into the Champions League. The Premier League is dead and buried, but this is the only chance that we do have. So, of course, we know that we'll be facing Chelsea in that particular final. They just about scraped through against Frankfurt, and they ended up winning on penalties. Of course, they would have thought that they would have had a comfortable win at home, but it wasn't the case. They ended up going all the way through to penalties. It was 1-1 on the evening, as well as the same score that was in the initial first leg. So Chelsea is the team that we meet in Baku. But to begin with, we suffered a huge scare, nearly had a heart attack when Valencia went in and scored only 11 minutes into the game. And I was thinking, here we go again. Is there another great comeback on the cards? Bearing in mind, if the score had remained as it were in the first leg and Valencia had won 2-0, they would have gone through to the final with no problems whatsoever. But a scare started off the game. They scored 11 minutes in. Great goal, to be fair. Have to give it to them in that regards, but we could have done slightly better in defence, namely Monreal as well as Kolasinac. Those two could have communicated slightly a little bit better in my opinion, but doesn't really matter now. But from that particular moment, you could sense the urgency in the team. And my question is, why can't we perform with the same kind of urgency in the Premier League week in, week out? So of course, we know our away form in the Premier League is absolutely abysmal. It's awful, it's terrible. Can't think of any other words to use. However, the away form is absolutely poor. But from that particular moment, you could sense the sense of urgency from the players themselves. And we got onto the score sheet from a fantastic Aubameyang goal. It was a long punt upfield by Petr. Lacazette flicked it on, Aubameyang was through. The defenders couldn't cope with his pace, and Gameiro was left in Aubameyang's dust. And before you know it, Aubameyang was hitting a volley. It was a very clever volley. But of course, you know, Aubameyang ended up getting that particular hat-trick. But of all the goals that it did score, the first one was absolutely fantastic. The technique was absolutely outstanding. Of course, he ended up taking the match ball home. As mentioned, he got the hat-trick. But favourite goal of the evening out of the 4 goals that we scored was obviously the Lacazette goal, and it did not have any space whatsoever. There was no room for him to manoeuvre, shouldn't have been allowed to score, and he found himself scoring and getting onto the score sheet, and it was a great goal. So overall, the team, yes, performed absolutely well. Of course, once we get to the final, we need to raise those performances slightly a little bit more, in my own opinion. But of course, I am absolutely pleased with the performance itself overall. Do we have a chance of actually winning the Europa League? Of course we do have a chance. Chelsea, we beat them in the recent final in the FA Cup. We beat them this year in the league as well. So it's a team, as I've mentioned in my preview, that we have sussed out. And I don't fear Chelsea going into this game. That fear factor that they had a few years ago, maybe under Conte or under Mourinho, is certainly gone. They don't possess that fear factor, but do not get me wrong. They've obviously got a good squad in place. They do have the likes of Hazards, your Kantes, recently added Higuain as well to that particular team. So I'm not too sure if Higuain is actually cup tied, but they also have the likes of Giroud, former Arsenal player, who'd want to also prove a point to Arsenal, of course, as a club, not so much to the fans. We do know that there's a lovely relationship between Giroud and the fans themselves, but it's going to be an extremely interesting final. We will certainly be doing the build-up to the final on the 29th of May, and that will be on a Wednesday. So we'll certainly give you the build-up, and we'll be bringing you team news in regards to that particular final moving forward. But as usual, guys, please do let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, please do make sure that you do that subscribe button. So once again, guys, it's your boy TC from I'm Gonna Talk TV, and I'm out.